Alright, this video is mostly inspired by Blows Himself Up Dude. He makes videos about Batman, which I think are really good. And I decided to make my own video, declaring Batman as my all-time favorite comic book hero. I like him more than Spider-Man. I like him more than Captain America, as many times I talked about Captain America. I like Batman more than Superman. And I'll give you 3 reasons and explain. 1, Batman is rich. That's not a character quality or a character flaw, I know, but just for him to be in that position to have money means that he has a lot to work with in terms of him fighting crime. I mean, let's face it, how much money would it cost to build a fucking Batmobile? And fly around the world and learn from the world's greatest masters at anything you could ever think of. 2 is the fact that Batman is intelligent enough and has enough patience to actually go around the world and train to fight crime. Especially what he had in mind, which to many people would be totally bizarre. But excuse me, it's a comic book, so you got to go with it. And essentially, 3, the fact that he's portraying himself as this really big, badass, scary motherfucker that you don't want to mess with, and yet he's got your back. I always thought that was pretty cool about Batman. And Batman's, and the fact that he doesn't have superpowers. He doesn't have superpowers. He has skills. Like he has, and one of the things I like about it, I know comic books are a work of fiction, but feasibly attainable skills, which I always liked about Batman. He learned criminology, forensics. A lot of cops learn that. He learned martial arts. A lot of people study martial arts. He learned meditation and all kinds of different things, escapology and all that stuff, like how to pick locks and how to be an escape artist and everything, in science, and he invents things. It's like it's attainable skills, and you can relate to Batman because he's a person. Like you can't, because when he gets beaten up, he has to put ice on it. He can't stand in the sun like Superman can and just be okay, And another thing I like about Batman is like he has proven time and again that he is smarter than everybody else, which I think is funny, especially like if you watch Justice League or ever read any comics where him and Superman are together or anything like that. He's proven, and in many ways, he's much smarter than Superman is. I mean, Superman, God bless him, he's everybody's friend, but Batman's not as naive as Clark. And I sort of like that relationship between the two of them. They play off each other. There's a lot of qualities they see in each other that the other wish he had, which I think is pretty cool. But Batman is probably the most dangerous person in the DC universe. Just the simple fact that with his power and resources, he can pretty much go anywhere, find out anything, and use it to his advantage. And even with the recent thing with Batman R.I.P., he went up against Darkseid, and he has no powers whatsoever to speak of. Who does something like that? Batman basically he operates on muscle, intellect, and guts. And 9 times out of 10, except for R.I.P., he comes out on top. Except for R.I.P. and Nightfall and War Games and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always liked Batman. He's my favorite hero, and he's always fascinating because he's always, any interpretation over time is like a new take on it, except it's telling the same story but putting it in a new light, so to speak, and he's always transmutable that way. And he's very easy to do that with, but at the same time you can tell all kinds of stories with the character. Unlike Superman, where they've written him in so many ways, somehow Warner Brothers can't figure out how to do a Superman movie. But that's a whole nother video. But yeah, if you wanted to know what my #1 favorite all-time hero comic book hero was. You got it. And to my 93 subscribers, thanks for subscribing to me, even though I don't post videos as often as many YouTubers do. Just be patient with me, and I'll get back to you when I'm back to 100% and I got something to say. So, but outside of that, for the foreseeable future, I might do a few more comic book reviews or comic book thoughts from my end. And the next movie review I'm gonna do is Transformers, and I will go see G.I. Joe despite what everybody says, and I will put my 2 cents on that. And I'll post a video about G.I. Joe and how it affected me growing up. And it's not as heavy as everybody else, but hey, they stopped showing reruns back in the night. They stopped showing reruns as far as I can remember, so I never watched G.I. Joe. And G.I. Joe Extreme, I didn't love that show. But post your comments, and thanks for listening.